This is an Alternerd reality podcast.
Alright, so welcome back everyone to a special edition of Alternate Reality where we are going to be covering the Mandalorian Season 2. We've just all seen it. We want to break this shit down. We're going to do a lot more of these standalone type things in the future for like one game if it's really big and newsworthy, or one show where we think it needs a little bit of time all by itself. Joining me for this one is Hebrew Hammer.
Yo, yo, yo.
And Dahooch. No special intros for this one. We want to get straight into it because it is fucking exciting.
Yep. Yes. This is the way. This is the way. You're right.
This is the way. I cannot help but start this episode and think of Kathleen, whatever the fuck her name is, from the head of Star Wars.
Kennedy.
In the last 2 years, said the words, people do not have an appetite for Star Wars anymore. Mm-hmm. That's why our movies aren't succeeding. Go fuck yourself. This has been just an amazing 2 seasons of nerd television, but more specifically Star Wars. Like, yes. It's just such a love letter to what made it amazing. The best of canon from so many fucking series, chapters of books. There is so much here that is just paying off hit after hit after hit. I have absolutely loved this season. There's only probably one episode that was a bit slow, but other than that, man, this has been a banger.
Yeah, I am. Actually, Hooch, why don't you go ahead and go first?
I'm saying, let me guess. The one that was a little bit slow was The Passenger. Was that the one that you were kind of?
That was my slow one.
I was gonna say The Siege. Passenger had giant fucking ice spiders. What is your problem?
Nah, that one was honestly like to the point where when it was done, it was also a very short episode, if I remember correctly. Because I remember whenever it ended, I was like, oh, that's it? That's all? Because it felt like nothing actually happened there. It had a quick scene with the spider, with the ice spiders, but that was about it. But I don't want to just sit on the back. Like, I mean, still like a solid episode for sure and funny. But I also really liked the fucking frog lady. I thought she was fucking. I actually wish that she was going to be around for longer. Whenever she started speaking through the droid.
Well, she's not dead, so I mean, maybe.
Well, yeah, but whenever she started speaking through the droid, I was like, oh shit, this is awesome as fuck. So yeah,
that was actually a really cool moment when she was like.
I also felt really bad that the fucking Grogu was eating her children.
Yes.
That's why for as a character though, I was just like, this is like the worst mother. Because like you would think that when you go onto that ship, you would know how many frog babies there are in that tank.
Yeah.
If this kid ate one of them, you'd be like, what the fuck is going on? What is this? And you would lose your mind.
Yeah.
That kid ate so many of her children.
Yeah.
And
what a dick.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Just goes to show that kid is going to grow up to be a Sith for sure.
Yeah. I watched my brothers and sisters die in front of me while my mother sat there and did nothing.
I fed off the blood of other younglings, like Anakin before me. Yeah.
Well, then, of course, like, they get into trouble with the big old spider because what did he do? He ate one of the freaking spider babies. Like, stop eating the babies.
Don't eat shit.
Man, when I saw those eggs, I thought, holy shit, aren't we about to make the most of the alien license?
Yeah. I was like, crossover? Question mark?
Yeah.
Dude.
When it opened, I was like, holy fuck, he's going to eat a face hugger? This is going to be awesome. And I was like, all right, it's not a face hugger, but still pretty cool. Yeah. That whole thing to me was that was a video game sequence.
Yeah.
To me. Like you walk in, thing opens, and then you got to get back to the ship. And then you shut the doors, and then it's like cutscene.
I thought of
that
the raid from WoW with all the eggs. I think it was actually the one with Leroy Jenkins.
No.
Shit. Onyx. No. Well, there was 2 technically, because there was Onyxia was the main one. Though.
Onyxia or UBRS? Which one? Or no, was that LBR? No.
Well, that's where it gets depending, because Uber's was a 10-man raid way back in the day, whereas obviously it's very different to most people now. Well, let's not make this the WoW podcast.
But that's just the scene I thought of with all the eggs and stuff. I was like, oh shit.
But for me, this whole season kicked off with a bang. Like, obviously, the second that I saw that there was a ranger in town, I was just like, man, if this is Timothy Oliphant, and then I heard his voice, and I was like, motherfucker, here we go, Deadwood in space.
That's so weird.
I was like, this is going to be a good season.
Like, I thought the same thing. I had no idea Timothy Oliphant was going to be in there. But, like, whenever I saw him, like, whenever I saw the character in the mask, I was like, this looks like Timothy Oliphant, and I had that like weird instinctual thing. Hooch, what about you? Did you kind of know?
No, I had no idea.
Okay.
So, plus I'd never really seen Deadwood, so it's like I didn't have that reference, but I know like seeing him in it, it's like, oh yeah, no, he makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
He's always a Western lawman.
Yeah.
In just about everything he does that's not a Drew Barrymore zombie piece of shit. People can tell me they like that show all they like. I saw the first 3 episodes.
I'm curious to see if like other people that have watched that series like also instinctively kind of gathered, because maybe it was something in just like his walk that we picked up on. So weird, but yeah.
Yeah, he does have that weird upright stick up his ass thing. Like when he walks around in scenes in Deadwood, you just go, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, is this a character? Is this the way he walks? Does he have some sort of spinal fusion surgery I'm not aware of? He has this really upright, barely moves his arms.
Yeah, it's kind of like
from,
a glide.
Like, the top. Yeah. So, I mean, straight away, there was definitely vibes about that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he is wearing Boba fucking Fett's armor.
Yeah.
So there was the first nerdgasm of that whole series, was the fact that he is wearing Fett's armor, which then obviously leads to the question, where the fuck did that come from?
Yeah.
Someone either fished it out of the mouth of the, why can I not remember the name
Sarlacc.
of the creature right now? Sarlacc, thank you.
Sarlacc pit, yeah.
Did he crawl out or did someone pull him out?
Right.
And we're all like, dude, questions need to be answered, and we weren't going to get them in that app. I was waiting to see like a Boba's corpse or something, or like, oh, this guy came to town and this was his armor and he died from Sarlacc acid burns or something, but we didn't get it there. Obviously we got payoff for that later on. But crate dragons for me have always been an awesome part of the mythos, especially from the older games of Star Wars. That when they were saying crate dragon, I was like, oh my god, this is the Monster Hunter episode, and it did not disappoint.
Oh god, it was. But you know what? Don't forget when they went to go see go to the crate dragon. Don't forget the speeder that the Marshal had.
Yeah,
Speeder that the Marshal had. Oh, that's right. It was Anakin's. What you call it?
Pod racer.
Yes, pod racer.
It was one
prototype.
of his
engines.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I picked that out, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And I remember one of my buddies was like, "What the fuck?" I didn't know that.
See, it is little things like that. Like up until my current age of 36, I've been 100% convinced that I'm a heterosexual man, right? But everything that I see that's like that makes me want to suck Jon Favreau's cock like to the hilt. Like I'd be gagging and put a tongue out to make sure that he got a little bit of ball pleasure in there as well. Because those little things to people like us that know every little kind of piece or Easter egg that's out there, it is the fan
so
service
much.
that he goes, I see you and I'm one of you.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
If it wasn't him, I don't really give a shit who it was. I'm giving him the credit. But, you know, you can line up next. I'll be on your balls next, right? It's so cool when they do this.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, him and Filoni as well.
Filoni is a huge part. I would say Filoni knows the world the best, I would say, out of the both of them, objectively.
Yeah,
but
well, you can definitely tell the episode that Filoni wrote and directed.
Yeah,
that was Ahsoka's intro.
Yeah, 100%. But that Crate Dragon battle was so fucking cool. I enjoyed every second.
I mean, you knew the second like he started running towards him, which way that was going to finish. You knew it was going to be running into the whale's mouth. But look, still fine. I'm still on board with it. There is that one thing that I think we're going to see the outcome of that down the track is that at the end of it, they're pulling out Crate Dragon eggs.
Oh yeah,
the pearls. Yeah, the pearls.
I'm not 100% convinced they were going to eat those. I think that when they were like so happy about what they pulled out,
I 1000% agree. That's what I thought.
We're going to see sand people riding a fucking Crate Dragon in 3 seasons.
Oh Jesus! That's the other thing. Did you notice how the sand people came in?
How they came in?
How they approached?
On Bantha?
Now I don't remember.
On Bantha, in single file to hide their numbers.
Oh. That's right.
As Obi-Wan pointed out to Luke in A New Hope.
That's right. He did. I didn't even think about that one though, but yeah.
But you're right. It's consistent.
Yeah. Consistency.
Yeah.
Man. Well,
I like it.
There was so much
and then
obviously
the next one was the kind of bottle episode.
Well, don't forget the Boba Fett tease. That was where they gave the Boba Fett tease too.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
because you Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say also, and he gave back the armor, and I was like, do you think that Oliphant is coming back? Because I thought that he was gonna make an entrance again beforehand.
Oh, for sure.
He's definitely coming back, but yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. But the Boba Fett tease, that was good. I'm glad you saw that and you were like, oh shit. Like, I don't think that you immediately knew that it was him, but it was like the strong guess and the prevailing theory. Yeah. But man, I was fucking excited whenever I saw that. Yeah,
I've still got this feeling, given the lawman Western vibe of that town and the fact that we know that they're setting up a Star Wars Rangers series, which is basically them on that planet. I've still got a feeling that it's going to be him and Carano kind of like, sheriffs of different towns on the same planet.
Don't do that to me.
We'll team up somehow.
Don't put him in the show with her. Because then I'll have to watch it.
It just goes from strength to strength, bro.
Hopefully Oliphant doesn't send any offensive tweets or anything.
Oh, get over it, princesses.
He would have a hard time making me fall out of love with him, though, man. I fucking love him so.
Oh, but Carano, you can just drop at a heartbeat.
She doesn't have that street cred that I need to know. Lord. She's a good person.
Please. She could ruin you. Street cred.
She could
she's
kick my ass.
Kicked the shit out of people for a living.
She could kick my ass. Yes.
You need to get over it. The passenger went to the ice planet, fucked up his ship. It was awesome seeing X-wings in that episode.
Yes.
I will say that, like, seeing X-wings that had obviously been restored, like they didn't have that kind of dirty, semi-fucked up patch together vibe that you saw from all of those movies where they were the rebels. This is obviously part of the New Republic where they're like, maybe we should reinvest into this military, you know? That was really cool to see, like, X-wings obviously in their prime.
Yeah.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Filoni was one of the pilots in that too.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. He made a cameo.
That's right. Yeah, he did.
I'll have to go back and watch it.
Yeah. And then obviously the other dude came back later on. But yeah, it's a good episode. We were just talking about this a little bit ago, but like, oh no, I think it was already, we started this episode, so they know. Yeah, the eating of the children. So that was the thing there. But yeah, overall, like this one was the weakest one for sure for me. I just thought it was slow, and it was another, oh great, my ship's destroyed, let's go fix the ship. And I don't like the one person I really don't like in the series. Besides you know who.
Anyway,
Karen that fixes the Karen that fixes
that's
really?
Jenny Slate's character. That's Jenny Slate.
Yeah, I do not like her. I find her so annoying. I find her super annoying. But it's not her.
I feel like she must remind you of an auntie or something. Like one of yours, a bit of a hard to deal with.
I feel like that she gives that vibe. I think you're right 100%. I feel like she just gives off that vibe.
I feel like she reminds you of someone, yeah.
But yeah, so like her, like any episode that doesn't have her in it for a long period of time is a win for me. But yeah, overall, like this was the weakest episode for me, but still like entertaining. You know, had those moments. So yeah, I was good with it. And the spider and the ice spiders were cool.
Now, I think, like, where we all began climaxing that lasted for pretty much the next 5 episodes was when we saw the other Mandalorians, including Bo-Katan, introduced in episode 3, the heiress.
Yes.
And the fact that, like, just visually how they've really, really tried to make it so you don't get taken out from your fandom of the animated series. So you don't go, doesn't look like them, though. You know what I mean? Like, they've done a really good job about keeping the aesthetic and the vibe of the characters from the animated series.
Yeah, I appreciated that so much, honestly. Like when I knew it was Bo-Katan whenever I saw her face immediately. I mean, I already kind of suspected anyways, but
the helmet.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. But the but whenever I saw her face, I was like, yeah, Bo-Katan 1000%. Which I like being able to have that immediacy of. For someone that's watched all of the series, I like to be able to have that connection instantly. So that was really
and it's
cool.
Katie Sackhoff. I mean, she crushes anything that's in space like this. She's just always strength to strength, man.
Yeah,
from Starbuck to Bo-Katan. Yeah, perfect.
I was just about to call on that. Like, it's Katie Sackhoff, man. You can't go wrong.
Yeah, she really impressed me. She gave off the right vibe and everything like that. You know, strong independent woman vibes. I loved it, dude. I really fucking had a good time with that. You know, then the biggest thing about that, they gave us the reveal, the tease for the Jedi for Ahsoka Tano, and I was like, that's when I lost my shit.
Did you, in that episode when you heard that, did you actually think we were going to see Ahsoka? Or do you think it was going to be like a red herring that kind of left it down that road?
I did think we were going to see Ahsoka. I did not think it was going to be soon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't think they were going to do it. I thought, and there's no way. Like, because she's such a, like, just powerhouse in that universe that's had so many myths and what feels like so many endings. I thought they'll find something else along the way. I'm glad that they did it, don't get me wrong. But, yeah, I thought at this point, this is just a name drop. You're chasing a legend and a ghost now.
Yeah, see, I have my issues with... Is there anything else that you guys want to say about the Siege before we move on? Because this is where some of my issues come into play.
Well, that's the heiress at this stage. That's the one with the Mandalorians, and obviously they have that. Well, it's basically a heist mission at that point.
Yeah. Which was pretty cool. This was your slow episode, right?
No, for me it was. Well, it wasn't necessarily slow because it was quite action packed.
Mm-hmm.
But the siege, when the Razor Crest obviously gets fucked up, and it's mainly on the planet because it's a lot less Mandalorian. Like this episode is a lot more Cara Dune and Carl Weathers' character, Grief Karga. Like it focuses a lot more on them, which was fine. But for me, this was probably the least kind of holy shit episode out of all of them. In each of them, there was a little something. With this one, there was a lot of big moments and great action sequences. Like, don't get me wrong, the worst episode of The Mandalorian is significantly better than anything in the prequel sequel eras.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. Like, we're nitpicking here.
But it just wasn't my favorite episode personally, as far as it didn't have... all I gave a shit about was, where is this story going? And for me, that was ship's buggered, eh? Let's go and do something on the side to kill some time.
Yeah.
So that at the end of it, the ship will be fixed, then you can go away again. So for me, yeah. And funnily enough, this episode with the most Carl Weathers in it was directed by Carl Weathers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I noticed that.
Yeah, no surprise there, I feel like. Please give me screen time.
I think this one needs more me.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, that one was I'd say my second, what I count as the second weakest episode. But yeah, still not a bad.
And also the setup episode for what we think will be Rangers. Like they still haven't confirmed that Cara Dune is going to be one of them, but I think,
it's implied for sure. Yeah, I
heavily
agree. But then we get on to the next episode where Ahsoka Tano comes in. Here's where I have some issues. So,
okay.
Keep in mind, Ahsoka Tano is my favorite character in all of Star Wars.
I'm aware.
Whenever the Rebel series, which is before this, Ahsoka Tano is depicted as a different character, basically, than what we find here. She is, it looks like, I mean, Hooch, like you've seen the series, so do you know what I'm talking about? You've seen all the way through Rebels?
Yes, I have.
So do you know that end scene where she's dressed kind of like I always say, she looks like a Force priestess?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where they leave her off, and they leave her off with of course the owl of the sister of the Force as well, kind of flying with her, which they always kind of left that mystical vibe with her, right? And so where she ended up, she definitely looked like this enlightened Force figure, and because she was not associated as a Jedi, or refused to be associated as a Jedi, and obviously was not a Sith, it had very big implications for like what her position was going to be in the future of the show.
Yeah.
Whenever you see her here, that is not what we see. We see old Ahsoka Tano. I don't even think Rebels Ahsoka Tano. It feels more like maybe early Rebels Ahsoka Tano, or a very, very late Clone Wars Ahsoka Tano. So there was a big disconnect going in whenever I first saw her. I just did not get that vibe at all. And it wasn't a terrible vibe. It's just I wish that they wouldn't have put that last scene in, because that continuity there's something missing for me now. There was a sneak peek of the owl, so you did get to see her, but that should have been like a little bit more present. But I get that they wanted to probably slow play involvement of what that is, because they still haven't fully explained the situation there. Yeah, she felt not quite as powerful. I personally didn't like... I know that she kicked some ass, but I wasn't like super impressed with the lightsaber play. It was pretty good, but I wasn't like super impressed with it, which I really wanted to be, because the way she wields a lightsaber, especially in the series, fucking amazing, dude. Her dual wield lightsaber abilities are fucking insane. So that was kind of a little bit of a letdown, and yeah, she just didn't feel quite as powerful. Like, she should have absolutely destroyed Spear Girl, for instance. And she only used her Force powers, like, twice. And she uses them all the time in Clone Wars and Rebels. So those things, altogether, still, I was super impressed with the look of her. I was really worried about the look of her going in. I was like, I just don't see how they're going to do it, make her look like it. But they nailed it, actually. The headdress situation looked like a little plasticky for me, but that's about it. But I was really impressed with that part overall. And she, like, the way that she played her, obviously felt like a version of Ahsoka Tano, so that was good. But yeah, just those issues I had. That was like my one big ramble that I'll probably do this episode. But those were, as a diehard fan of Ahsoka, those were my issues that I brought in. I'm still not like, oh my god, it ruined it for me. I'm still super excited for Ahsoka, the show. But those were just my concerns, and I hope that they kind of address those things moving forward. What about you guys?
I disagree a lot. I mean, I was blown away by a lot of this, and I think that we're going to get a lot of answers to the questions that you're asking anyway, and part of this feels, to me, deliberate, that they want guys like you to ask questions, because we have the Ahsoka series. Like, people are going to want to know what happened at the end of Rebels versus now. So there's going to be a backstory period. Now, whether they address that by a throwback or whether that is season 1. Like, maybe season 1 of Ahsoka ends with that Mandalorian episode, like, up until that point. And then obviously then you do a continuation. Or maybe it's a flashback episode that explains why she is where she is. So maybe she took more of a, priestly guidance kind of role, but then saw, with the lack of Jedi in the universe and the Empire on the rise, that without direct intervention from her, people were going to die and have pain. Like, there's so many different stories that would make sense as to why she had to get stuck back in the battle. And, maybe, not using her Force powers as much, maybe that's why she didn't use them as much in that episode. Or maybe Favreau didn't want, like, non-hardcore Star Wars fans to just watch her wreck this chick with a spear, which she probably could have, because it would have made for a really shit fight scene, right? This chick was obviously Force sensitive, but I don't think she could, fight being thrown across the room and speared with their own, Beskar staff. So I think a lot of it made sense for what they're trying to do here. And look, for me, Rosario Dawson absolutely crushed it. And I can see why they're going to give her a whole new series, because there is so much you can do with that character and this story, for sure. I like this episode a lot. And then, I was going to say this at the end, remember as well that we now have an idea of what the Ahsoka storyline might be chasing as well.
Oh, we
is that she is hunting for Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Yeah.
So here's the question I have actually with that. So, or actually a couple of points. One of the things I was reading was the reason why she struggled in the fight was because Jedi training wasn't against somebody typically who had like a different fighting style like that. They are familiar with certain fighting styles, and when they go up against somebody they haven't met before, there's that period of trying to figure out, okay, what are they doing? How do I counter it? And that's why at first she was struggling, but then at the end, it seemed easier for her because she was finally like, oh, now I know what I'm working with.
It's like watching a Mayweather fight. Mayweather is so fucking boring in the opening 2 rounds of every fight he's ever had because he's literally feeling the timing. Like, he's basically painting a map of exactly the person against. He's the most boring but effective fighter on planet Earth because he just knows when to counterpunch because he's mapped all the moves. And yeah, you're right. There's a little bit of that. I mean, the insights of what it was probably just something more script worthy of we want it to look like it was a tougher battle.
I think it was more that. I think it was, which I personally don't like that. You're depowering people for the sake of narrative at the time, temporary narrative, like viability. I personally don't like that, which is why I didn't like that fight. And just to go off of what you said before, Hooch, I could totally get that, but the difference is that she's fought against so many different enemies, so many different times, and she's never had that problem before.
Oh, yeah. No, I was just offering up the explanation that came like directly from like the creators. But I mean, I'm kind of in agreement with what you were saying. Like, this is a character who has gone toe to toe with Anakin Skywalker.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Who is arguably one of the strongest
and best lightsaber duelists, like specifically
exactly,
and
duelists. Yeah, precisely. Yeah. So the fact that she was able to go toe to toe with him and Darth Maul, as well.
Oh yeah, many times Darth Maul.
Yeah, many times, exactly. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, she'd be more powerful, especially at this stage.
Yeah.
But as far as the lack of her force, using her force, I think when you get to the Ahsoka Tano book, she doesn't like to use her force ability. She tries not to because she doesn't want to identify as a Jedi.
Right.
So I think that kind of fits in there, but it may be because she was on a quest to find Thrawn, which brings me to my other question. I thought the end of Rebels, she left to find Thrawn and Ezra.
That is what happened. Well, I mean, she was she got notice that Ezra was still alive, if I remember correctly. That was whenever she got notice, and that's whenever you saw her in that like kind of priestess getup. So you knew that Ezra was going to basically find Ahsoka, and they were going to team up to go find Thrawn.
I thought, if I remember correctly, the end of Rebels was Ezra and Thrawn.
Yeah, Ahsoka, or who? Not it was Sabine. Sabine was going to go find Ahsoka to go find Ezra and Thrawn, because Ezra and Thrawn got thrown out together. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. They got tossed into deep space or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And so she's looking. So obviously Thrawn, I guess, has shown his face somewhere because someone has now seen him. So I think she's looking for obviously Thrawn and probably Ezra as well. And I think that's what that Ahsoka series is going to be about, which is super exciting because I mean he's one of the coolest villains, honestly. Oh yeah. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was super excited to hear that. That was a really cool part of it. But yeah, and you're right, like maybe that is part more of the book. But yeah, every time you saw her before that, like, because even since she's been a Jedi, I mean, like, she's been in the I'm not a Jedi phase for a long time. Like, you know, in Rebels even, like, you know, since the beginning of Rebels to the end of Rebels, she was in that. She used her force all the time. So maybe that is something that comes on later on. And like you said, and this has been my validation for it as well, I hope that they do explain it. Because I as someone that's watched it, and I have trust in Filoni.
I don't think they will. I don't think anywhere near as many people read into this as what you're doing.
I actually think Filoni will explain what's going on more because he is a continuity guy. And he wrote he put her in the position that she was in. I think originally they put her in that position because they didn't know at the time that they were going to be doing an Ahsoka series. And so now they kind of have to go back and he's going to figure out a way to justify what happened. But we'll see. I can guarantee you they will at least remark on that.
Yeah, and in that episode, she refuses to train Grogu, and that's when we learn that Baby Yoda is actually called Grogu because of the communication that they have through their telepathy. And that leads us on to Grogu.
Yeah. I was a little disappointed whenever I heard the name. I was like, oh, all right.
I think they thought of something. What could like tiny children that would want to buy toys be able to say to their parents? Grogu. Christmas. Yeah, Grogu. Yeah. Now, this next episode was so fucking massive with everything that went down. Yes. We have, she says, need to go to the Jedi Temple. And Grogu steps foot on the stone plate and then starts like communicating with the Force and just blasting out Force energy theoretically across the entire universe. So he's going full Dragon Ball Z. And everyone's just like, bro, can you hurry up? In which case, obviously, they had been tracked from early in the season by Moff Gideon. Yeah. And they've been waiting for the perfect opportunity. And they blow from space the Razor Crest off the fucking map. That ship is gone.
Yeah.
Now,
so I was sad to see that go, but glad that we don't have another Fixer Up episode again.
Oh, yeah.
More Jenny Slate's
Someone buy this man a ship. He's saved like half the galaxy at this point.
He needs a GoFundMe page, hardcore.
He does. Yeah, needs to start an OnlyFans with just his helmet on.
Yeah, there you go.
Now, wow. We also get the resurgence of Boba Fett, which cannot be underestimated. When we saw him walk out and you heard that accent, you're like, holy shit, here we are. And then it brought back one of my favorite characters who keeps popping up in Disney shit. I can never remember that actress's name. What's her name? The one who played May in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as well.
Asian chick.
Ming-Na Wen.
Ming-Na Wen, that's the one, yeah. So she was a character we thought had been killed off in season 1 of The Mandalorian. But no, she basically owes her life debt to Boba Fett and is committed to helping him reclaim his former life. And he's there for the armor that the Mandalorian picked up in episode 1 of season 2. So yeah, there's a lot happening. And then obviously then the attack comes. They send down dark troopers who are droids now. They're no longer high-end stormtroopers.
Yeah.
And they kidnap Grogu, taking him back to the ship.
Yeah.
There was a lot in this episode. He's got no ship.
Yeah.
The kid's gone. Boba Fett's now here in Slave One. When I saw that fucking ship, dude,
for real,
that was a big moment.
And also the bombs. Whenever he did the bombs, he dropped his bombs.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
the signature
That was pretty
sound
rad.
and everything. Yeah, I was like, "Fuck yes," because they kept that same exact sound. Yeah, it was so cool. This was a fucking great episode. I'm also like it was cool seeing. He reacted a little more calmly than I thought he might have for getting his armor back, which was really cool. I'm not sure if it's because he was a Mandalorian or if it's just because, like, you know, he's like older now as a character. So he's like, I've had to deal with so much shit already. Like, I'll ask nicely. But either way, really, I loved their interactions together. I thought it was so cool. And I'm so glad that they had him, like, do it, which I think we already kind of knew anyways. But yeah. Super cool all around. I did think also it was funny that they went full circle with, they started off with droids, the Empire, started off with droids, then went to humans, and then went back to droids again, basically, for like the ultimate killer machines. I thought that was funny. But yeah, like, really cool episode. The shot at the end whenever Boba killed the two spaceships on the way out. It was so fucking cool and funny. I loved it. Yeah. What about you, Hooch?
No, it was a great episode. Like having Boba Fett show up again, you know, getting the armor back, having the conversation where they're like, "Well, you're not Mandalorian," but this is my armor, and proving that it was his armor. And then of course, yes, Fennec showing up again because Ming-Na Wen is awesome. Everything she does is awesome.
She was really good.
Yeah.
Although now it's hilarious because now she's in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and this is like, hey, come on, you can't keep double dipping like this.
When this is jumping forward a little bit, when we saw those scenes with her and Carano together, I thought, holy shit, this is going to be the Rangers. It's going to be those two.
Oh, you're probably right.
Well, isn't she?
Yeah,
still
I was like,
technically a
shit,
bounty
that
hunter?
would make sense.
Well, actually, yeah. Now I don't know. Thinking about the end, I don't know.
Well, think
think about
Fennec
the
is
end.
still-
Obviously, a lot's changed now.
Yeah.
But until I saw that bit right at the end, I was like, okay, this is the dynamic. It's going to be a buddy cop Western where you've got the two opposite ends. You know, you've got this rebel, paratrooper. You've got someone who was formerly, Empire. Like, it's kind of a really cool two people trying to find their new identity in a post-war, Western world where they have to be the ones bringing order together, and all they've got is each other. Like, there's a cool story there. I don't think they're going to do it now, what we've seen, but it would have been I think a good idea.
I agree. I agree, especially given some moments that they had together in that last episode. Like, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, there was
The chemistry was there for sure.
There was some real big girl power moments,
but done the right fucking way. How many times have I said that the tokenistic shit they've done in so many movies recently feels like a box check? That was showing two ladies being fucking amazing, and I loved every second of it. Yeah. Anyway, that's jumping ahead to the final ep. So, I agree. I love the dynamic they've set up with Boba Fett. Like, this whole narrative of, you're not a real fucking Mandalorian. You can't wear the armor.
You're not a
He's
real
like,
Mando, bro.
I can, dude.
Yeah.
I can. Like, I love that whole thing. Like, you were saying, it seemed weird that he was kind of chill about it. I think he has a reverence for the Mandalorians that it feels was drummed into him by his dad.
Oh,
by
yeah,
Django.
for sure.
That I actually really, really dig whatever it is that they're setting up there on that side. To the point that I was wondering, like, if he's going to get drafted to, like, help them in the fight to take back Mandalore.
Right. Oh, I think that's a for sure skis situation. Honestly, I think it's going to be convincing. Like, it's going to need to be some convincing through a couple episodes of something. But I think that we are going to see him there on the good side, because this is like we are seeing the beginnings of the redemption arc for him. So, for sure, like.
Well, he doesn't really have that much to redeem for. I mean, let's be real here. Like, Boba Fett used to take contracts for the Empire. But remember, the Mandalorian was a bounty hunter at the start of this as well. Like, he's done some fucked up shit also.
Yeah.
But that's his.
So, I mean,
that's his redemption
yeah.
arc. Like, I think that this whole thing, like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying like he was a terrible guy and he was just trying to do his job, but it was definitely like he was on the like more evil side, right? There was like the Jedis, which were like the good guys, and he was definitely like an obstacle that they had to overcome. This was his kind of redemption time to be on like the quote unquote good side team and kind of get along with them, which is always really fun to see, which we see more of in the next episode. So yeah, like I was all about it. I loved it, and the dynamic between the two of them was really cool, and it continued to that degrading process of the Mandalorian code that's been like, you know, ingrained into him this whole time. So that was pretty cool.
That was actually a good point, right back in episode 3 of the season, where like the Mandalorians showing their faces, and he was shocked.
Oh yeah, we didn't.
And then
talk
you
about
find out
Yeah.
that he was part of a very specific like cult faction of the Mandalorians.
Yeah.
They're like, bro, there's more than one way to Mandalorian, right? You don't have to like. You can take the helmet off; it feels better, right? It's
Even when I
thought
fuck,
that was pretty
bro.
cool. Because I think that's going to lead into like what happens in this next season. That I think he's going to have a real identity crisis, and that started off with the episode we're going to talk about now. I think, which is obviously the reintroduction of the Bill Burr character from this universe, Mayfeld.
Yeah.
Where they had to go and get him out of a prison camp because obviously he was ex-Empire. He would be able to get some information about where they might be keeping Grogu. And can I say that fucking Bill Burr crushed this episode?
100%, dude. He fucking killed
Totally.
it. I loved every
Absolutely.
bit of the show that he was in. Every scene that he was in, I thought it was fucking great. He showed, like, you always see him in like the funny role too, but he had lots of moments here. And I fucking loved every single one.
Dude, that second half, like PTSD kicking in.
Yeah. Oh my
like,
god.
I did not expect that kind of range out of Bill Burr.
Same.
I was like, oh shit, this is unexpected.
Like, this motherfucker
they're
can
like,
act.
even he seems to be like, oh, I can't do it. And you're like, oh, he's just a pussy. That's all this is.
Yeah.
No, it's about in his mind. If he sits in front of that guy, in his mind, he has to admit that everything that he remembered him doing bad was real.
Yeah.
And the way they conveyed that was so good.
Dude.
I'm unbelievably impressed. I mean, Bill Burr is at the height of his career now anyway because of his comedy. But I feel like he could just about do anything at the moment. He did really well.
I think that this did like so much for his career, hopefully. And I want to see him in so much more shit now because like you're right. In those moments with that conversation, there was stuff that he was saying, but it was everything that was unsaid it was just the expressions that he had. Everything was so telling. And the way that he, demonstrated that was just amazing. I don't know. He was so interesting to watch, dude. He's such a good actor.
That needs to be a recurring character now. Like, I hope we see more Mayfeld.
I think very much that is the case. Like they gave him in that episode, that was his redemption arc, and they, you know, as soon as they let him go, like I figured that they were going to let him go, but I knew then for sure he was going to be coming back, like hopefully a good bit.
Now, there was a lot of arguments behind the scenes. Like, we heard this reported a lot, Hooch, that there was a moment that one actor wanted to see and everyone else did not want to see. But we ultimately ended up seeing this moment in Chapter 15, or Episode 7 of this season, which is we get to see the Mandalorian's face.
Yeah.
Yep. He could take off the helmet.
I feel like if I didn't know the backstory of all the controversy of I'm the fucking Mandalorian, people should at least know who I am as an actor. I'm the reason this shit is so good. Maybe I feel better about that moment because I understand that the lore of this is that he is sacrificing the thing most important to him for the kid's safety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
In order to be able to find where the
But
kid is.
knowing that behind the scenes, they're like, all right, you can have your mask off like maybe once, maybe twice this season. How do you feel? You know?
Yeah.
That's the part that for me, I'm like, if I didn't know that, I'd probably like, okay, this is showing the sacrifice. But there was something about that moment that it didn't have, I mean, you guys might feel differently. It didn't have the sell point for me that like him taking his mask off, it didn't actually look like he really hesitated.
Dude,
he sort of
I'm
tipped
actually
his head.
yep. I'm with you.
I thought like if you're going to sell that moment and this is the first time they're seeing your face, punt it to the moon champ.
Yep.
Show how hard this is for you.
Yep.
Show this whole every fiber of your being with the way you've been raised is telling you what you are doing right now is wrong and is against your code. But and yes, you're doing it for the love of this kid, but show how big it is. Like, you saw the visceral reaction in Bill Burr's character, like, I need to kill this motherfucker right now because he has committed atrocity. He's going to do it again. Like, I have to. And he built it up, he showed it, and he executed. That whole moment, for me, if you're going to sell, that was such a big deal, but it didn't feel like it in the show.
I had arguments with the people that I was watching with about that exact moment. I did not... I felt like it was too soon, period. But because he just met people that were like, hey, like, you can take off your helmet, dude. I thought it was going to take more time. And I have a feeling it would have if it wasn't for these kind of arguments behind the scene. But the moment that itself did not resonate with me as the moment. Like, whenever he did it, like, I get, like, they gave a reason why, and they definitely tried to empower the moment, you know, with the meaning, because he had to do it to save him, blah, blah, blah. And he was willing to sacrifice that. But I just think it would have been so much more impactful if they did it, with Grogu there, and he had to, like, literally everything that he did came to that moment, and Grogu would see his face as well for the first time. And I thought that would have been such a more powerful moment. We had about a 40-minute argument about that with the people that I was talking to, because they were like, no, that moment was great because it displayed this. And I was just like, I didn't feel that. Like, and I'm very invested in this character. And so I was like, I just did not feel it.
It lessens the ending of the final episode for me.
Exactly.
Because if he took off his mask as like, I don't know if I'm ever going to see you again.
Yes.
I want you to see who I am, and that, you know, you have had an effect on me, so I'm going to move my mask. You know how big a deal this is to me because you can read my mind, dude. You've been around seeing all these conversations. I just want you to know this is me, right?
Yes.
That would have been a real powerful moment at the end of 16.
And it was lessened.
Now it's kind of like, oh, so we just fucking take it off all the time, now, do we? Fine. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that feels like a bad choice.
Yeah.
But it's not going to ruin the entire franchise
Not
for me.
at all.
But it is one of those weird things that if it just came off at the end of 16, I completely agree that's a moment to do it. Because then it opens up the questions for you in between the seasons of, all right, so he now has... Oh, well, let's go into the final episode bit by bit, because the ending we're going to talk about a lot, I think. They find the ship. They take the Mandalorians with them, Bo-Katan and crew, on the agreement that Bo-Katan will help them, but they get to keep the cruiser, and that she gets to keep the Dark Saber. That's the only conversation. Like I say, you do this, fine. And then obviously we have Cara Dune going with them as well.
But that conversation in and of itself, though, was just awesome in the fact that you've got, Bo-Katan. I can't remember the name of the girl that she was with, but just laying insult after insult to Boba Fett. You know, calling him not a son, but a donor. Not a real
they all
Mandalorian.
think he's a clone. They don't know that he is the offspring offspring of Jango.
Yeah, 'cause she was like, I've seen 1,000 of your voices, or I've heard 1,000
your
voices.
voice.
Yeah, I've heard your voice 1,000 times or something like that. Yeah.
Well, he is technically a clone. He just wasn't given the accelerated growth process.
He was he the clone though, or was he actually?
No, he's technically a clone.
He was one that he kept as a son. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right. I remember. Obviously, he was raised directly by Jango. But like, I didn't remember if he was a natural born son or if he was cloned. No. Okay, he was just the first clone. Okay.
Because the Kaminoans even say it. They say that, all of them are in the accelerated growth process with the exception of one. Yeah, that Jango
that's what it was. Yeah.
So we know that there is obviously a platoon of Dark Troopers on board. They need to get through that. That's what one part of the team's doing, and then the rest of them are taking the bridge. So, some of the fight scenes there with the Mandalorian going up against the one Dark Trooper. Obviously, it was designed to show how fucking tough those things are to kill.
Yeah. But how easy they are to kill when you have a spear.
Made out of pure Beskar. Beskar just seems like the antidote to everyone's problem.
I was just like,
come up against a Jedi, Beskar, no problem.
Exactly. I was just like,
Great Dragon, Beskar.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty interesting thing. I was just like, okay, well, they're gonna be like actually kind of easy now. But yeah,
like even the fact that the Dark Trooper was just repeatedly punching his helmet.
That was a cool little
bending.
moment. Yeah, I loved that.
Yeah.
When the ship was giving before the helmet. I was
exactly.
like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Oh, that was great, dude.
So that was pretty cool. But it also just goes to show how dumb a plan it was. It's like Lesh Flush droids who we know can fly from space.
Yeah.
Out of an airlock, right? Because we literally saw it 2 episodes ago, right? They flew from orbit onto the planet and then flew back into the ship, right?
Yeah.
As soon as they did the airlock thing, I'm like, what the fuck? They're just going to fly back in.
Yeah.
They didn't disable them. There was no EMP. There was no.
But it did get rid of them for a little
like that.
bit. So there was a purpose.
I'm stupid.
I'm surprised it went for that long. I'm surprised that they were gone for that long. Why didn't they just go, well, let's just engage.
Yeah, like lift off right now.
Let's punch a hole in the floor and hang on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They could have done that. They could have used their boosters to fly immediately back in or fly to the bridge. Just like, back door shut. Let's just punch a hole through the front door.
Yeah.
You know, there's so much about that was just like, that's one of those Terminator 2, don't think too much about it.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, no, I thought that was funny more than anything else because I was like, yeah, they're definitely flying back. I actually didn't even realize that people thought that they were dead until one of the people I was watching with was like, "Oh shit, well that's taken care of," and I was like, "Yeah, they're coming back, dude."
That's kind of where I was. I'm like, "Oh, dude, he just freaking spaced them," and I don't even know why.
Don't stir, bitch.
No, they can just fly back, dude. Yeah, they can totally just fly back. It's like that whole scene in was it Gravity with Sandra Bullock and
and
your dad,
yeah,
where it's like he goes floating off, it's like, dude, just tug.
Yep.
All you do is just tug, and he's coming back.
Yeah, that was pretty ridiculous. But whatever, got rid of him for a little bit. Narratively gave him an opening, so is what it is. Not super upset with it.
So we saw a really rad action sequence with obviously the main forces fighting their way through to the bridge to get to Gideon. And that's where I got the real vibes of the whole gearing up for a Rangers spin-off. Maybe not. Who knows? And then we obviously saw Moff Gideon versus the Mandalorian in the most telegraphed, I'm obviously going to try and shoot you regardless moment of probably the whole franchise.
Yeah, that was I hope, like, I couldn't tell in the moment and I haven't rewatched it yet, but like I hope he actually thought that, or like knew that he was going to try to do something and didn't like just like, oh, okay, I'll trust you. Because he's
trusted a lot of people that he shouldn't.
Exactly.
In the series. The Mandalorian has made some terrible fucking choices.
Yeah, for real.
Yes, he has.
I'm like, you're lucky you have Beskar, dude, because like, right? You'd be fucked.
Well, that's one of the things I loved about that episode before it as well, like where it actually showed that moment with how reliant he's become on the Beskar, where he puts his hand up expecting just to deflect the stick of that fucking mud dude.
Oh, that's right.
And then it like smashed him. He's like, oh, fuck. He literally showed that hurt. He's like, oh, yeah, I'm not covered in indestructible goddamn armor right now.
This is like way harder. I get it now, dude. Yeah, it was like, I'm glad that they actually gave him a fight because that would have been ridiculous if he would have just let him walk too. But yeah, Beskar armor feels very OP, story wise. Not much you could do to beat that shit. So nothing feels, that's like one thing that I'm a little concerned about. Nothing feels very dangerous whenever he's wearing that armor. So I don't know what they're going to do about that to make him feel a little more, susceptible.
Well, it does have weak points. Do you know what I mean? Like, between most of the people that come up against him, I don't think, it seems like Beskar has become obviously very, very rare.
Yeah.
And as a result, obviously people probably aren't used to fighting it. It's like, people come against a Jedi. They're just like, what are you going to do with that, bro? I'm just going to shoot you from here.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of that. But that obviously brings us to the Dark Saber. And obviously the Mandalorian sort of lore of the Dark Saber that, whoever it is that holds and wins via victory the Dark Saber in battle becomes basically, is it the King of Mandalore, or what are they actually
ruler of
Mandalore?
Yeah.
The ruler of Mandalore.
Yeah.
So we obviously have Gideon loses that fight to the Mandalorian. And then obviously that pisses off Bo-Katan externally. You would think that she would point this out earlier.
Yeah.
To, hey, don't kick us off if you don't have to. Or maybe I'll be the one that goes after Gideon.
Yeah,
how about
the plan was flawed from the beginning that she knew about as like an option here. So,
well, I think she assumed that Gideon was going to be hiding on the bridge. So if she was taking,
I don't know.
But anybody who knows, like, Gideon's big prize was Grogu.
Right.
So he didn't care about the ship. It was Grogu.
Yeah, and I also just like, I don't know why that's that big of a deal, because like you don't have to kill the other person, you just have to beat him. So it's like,
So here's
let's
the thing that they did mess themselves up. How did Bo-Katan get the sword and the saber in the first place?
That's a good point.
From
It was given to
her, yeah.
her.
That's true.
Sabine gave it to her.
That is 100% true. Well, so either way, so A, broken from that. B, like I just even taking what they have right now, it's just not that big of a deal. It's like, okay, just fight me real quick and I'll throw the fight. Like whatever.
But I think that's what he's saying. Is like you can't throw the fight.
Okay,
You
so
have
then
to.
I'll lose. Like, what do you like, quote unquote? Like, what do you want from me? Like,
I feel like that's season 3 though. I feel like it's gonna be the taking back of Mandalore, and I think
agree.
that he's
I
gonna
agree.
become the unwanted like king of Mandalore.
Yeah,
really.
the burden.
Like I think
The
that
burden
they're
king.
pushing that. That's gonna create conflict with him and Bo-Katan, that people are gonna defer more and more to him, and maybe she goes a little bit off the fucking deep end. Who knows?
Granted-
but it feels like that's kind of where we're headed.
granted, she didn't even want to rule anyway. Do you remember that, Hooch?
Yeah.
She didn't want to rule.
Yeah.
Like Sabine was like, "Well, I don't want to fucking rule," and then she was like,
Yeah.
and she was like, "So here," and then Bo-Katan was like, "I already had my chance. Like, I don't want to rule," and then she was like, "Well, I really don't want to rule. So here," and then she's like, "Okay, I
He's
guess
like,
so."
This is not for me. Yeah.
So-
Like you need, because I think she was saying she needed it to mend the differences between the clans.
Yeah.
Right. Because I think it was what Death Watch.
Death Watch
was the one that Death Watch and then the rest of Mandalore were trying.
Yeah.
And Sabine felt Bo-Katan was the best to get the two to reach an agreement and to live harmoniously.
Yeah, and I guess it's a particular subsect of Death Watch that
Yes.
the Mandalore is a part of.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
even Death Watch, they took their helmets off, so it has to be like a
Yes.
But they were traditionalists, so yeah, it was
Yes.
a very small subsect of them, I guess, that were super traditionalist. But yeah, so that was
Orthodox Mandalore.
So that was something. Like I was just like, that's a small obstacle. And also I was also like, there's only like 6 people in this room and all of us want the same thing, right? So we could just say she got it.
Yeah, right.
So I don't know. That didn't seem to be as much of an obstacle for me as they were trying to make it out. So I was like, whatever. Like we'll figure that out later. But continue with your synopsis then.
So, obviously, they're all celebrating on the bridge, and then the inevitable, all the Dark Troopers fly back in exactly the same place they came from. They're all bracing themselves to get their asses handed to them, and then all of a sudden, a lone X-Wing
Yep.
flies onto the hull of the ship.
Oh, man.
And that's the first moment where you're like, do not fucking tell me they're going to do this.
Yeah.
And then you see the security footage. And I thought this was brilliant because it was in black and white. So the first time you saw a Jedi fucking shit up, it was very sort of grainy graphic footage in black and white.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, okay, Ahsoka's got their back. She was tailing them the whole time. It's all good, right? And then you saw it was only one saber in that footage. And you're like, hang the fuck on. Then we actually see it from the Jedi's perspective just behind him. He is wearing a black glove and he has a green motherfucking lightsaber.
Yeah.
And you're like,
And the same
holy
hilt.
shit, they did it.
Yeah.
Yes, they fucking did it.
Uh-huh.
It's Skywalker. It's going to be Skywalker. But then it begs the question, how the fuck are they going to do this?
Yeah.
Is it going to be this whole like rumors of Sebastian Stan was from Disney in the first place, and they fucking screwed with all of us that they were saying, hey, wouldn't it be cool if, when they'd already done it? Or were they gonna Princess Leia this bitch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got our answer, that on the deck, after he's fucked through a whole bunch of Dark Troopers, we see a young CGI'd Mark Hamill on the screen.
Yeah.
What did you guys think?
I had a very big suspicion that it was going to be Luke, as did a lot of people, because it kind of made sense time wise that he could do it, and I think at least I figured that it wasn't going to be Ahsoka, because Ahsoka's going to be doing her own thing now, especially after we got that announcement. So I thought maybe Mace Windu, maybe. It's like, because he would have had to survive, which that wouldn't have been a big.
I'm
That
like-
actually wouldn't have been a big leap. Him surviving. The big question would actually be, where the fuck has he been?
Yeah, like he got thrown out a window, didn't he?
Yeah, he got thrown out a
That was a
window.
long.
They've-
That was a
Super high
long
window.
time ago too. Like even in the lore of,
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
Star Wars, like it's like what 30,
he just-
40 years or something.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
got to remember
something like
he was
that.
one of the most powerful. Actually, he was at the time the second most powerful Jedi in existence, and he's already fallen from incredibly long distances before, even in the other movies. So him falling, like that's not a big deal. So him surviving actually would have been okay. But then that explains like why the fuck didn't he come back to warn everyone? So that's its own thing. So that wasn't the case, and I was totally fine with that. So then I was like, all right, it's gonna be either Luke or Ezra, and I was kind of wanting it to be Ezra a bit because I was like, oh man, I can't wait to see Ezra in live action, especially like all grown up now. But wasn't Ezra? That's fine because I figured Ahsoka. But man, whenever I saw Luke, dude, I got the fucking feels hard.
Yeah.
I got hit with them feels, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's Luke Skywalker who's coming to save us!"
I know. It was so good.
Yeah,
Oh
but I was taken out of the moment by his fucking face whenever I
CGI.
saw it. Yeah, like I was
Yeah.
taken out of the moment, and so I was like, "Fuck."
It was so
it's-
close to perfect. It was
It
so
was.
close.
It was-
The eyes didn't move.
Exactly.
Right? The rest of his
Yeah.
face was okay. There was one glitchy moment at the start that I was like, "Oh God, it's so close.
Yeah,
It's so fucking close."
it's
Yeah.
literally was like you're about to come, and then like something stopped you. Like, no, give it to me.
Yeah, but you got to look past it. Like, I mean, we know
I
what they're
did,
doing.
yeah.
It's the story that matters, and to me, that moment was fucking huge. And yeah,
Yeah,
I was the
absolutely.
same, man. Like the whole time, I'm like, "Oh my god, it's Luke! Oh my god, it's Luke! Oh my god!" Then the hook comes off, you're like, "Fuck yes, yeah!"
Yeah.
It was so good. It paid off, man. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Mark Hamill tweeted about 14 hours ago, which was not long after it screened. On Twitter, just said, "Seen anything good on TV lately?"
Nice.
Trolling the internet.
What a
So good, so good. This is awesome.
Yeah, and I think it was another cool thing, just especially this was honestly validation for I feel like a lot of people, but whenever he crushed the soldier, the super soldier with the Force,
Yeah.
that honestly felt like it was so much more meaningful to me because I think a lot of us kind of felt cheated with The Last Jedi. And making him not, I mean, like granted, this isn't canonical anymore, but like he was basically like, I guess, top 5 most powerful Force wielders in the known universe. So having him do what he did in The Last Jedi felt so like wrong. Like I felt cheated in the fact that like he just was not up to power.
It was cool what he did. I mean, he broadcast that and literally like delayed an entire army with that act. Like I think a lot of people shit on that, like the whole it wasn't really him.
I think
but
it was
the amount of
impressive.
force he had to use to pull most of that off. Like remember, he had to make at
Yeah.
least the lightsaber hits from Kylo seem. Oh no, he didn't actually.
No.
Did they touch blades?
No, they didn't touch blades.
He always
He
ghosted
just
him.
moved.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't think it was basically a hologram of him. And yeah, I'm not saying that that's, but is that I'm gonna die now worthy? I just don't think that was.
Well, he had to project that across the known galaxy.
Yeah,
but
but
don't get me wrong. I would have much preferred him rock up in the X-wing and then do it properly. Like if he had to come in the X-wing, strafe the side of that walker, and then landed like a boss in the middle of that field and gone toe to toe. That's how he should have died. He should have
and
died
that's
like
how it-
Obi-Wan. I agree.
And yeah,
right?
and that is exactly what my justification is for why that shouldn't have happened because he died anyways. He should have just been there and did literally all of that because it would have made more sense and it would have felt way more justified. And so that's my issue because you never got to see how powerful he was because he was so fucking cool in all of the books and all the expanded universe stuff. He did so much badass shit, and that's how he went out. It felt bad, but anyways, in this you got to at least get a touch of something where you were like, oh, that was fucking cool. What a badass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it felt like
But the problem is of having to rely on the CGI. And part of me, don't get me wrong, I love the fact that obviously they let Hamill be the only guy that will play Luke, as far as we know.
Yeah,
Like, there
I
is
respected
something
that for sure.
honestly cool about
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But it did, it did have there was a cost. Like, one is obviously a little bit of authenticity, number one. Like, you are taken out of that moment because of a lack of the technology. Like, I do hope that as deepfake technology evolves, they do go back and clean that up, right? For whatever. I hope they do. But more importantly, Mark Hamill is walking in. He's lost in the timeline, let's say in the last 5 years, the guy who taught him the most that he knows about the Force. Yeah. He's never seen a being like that before. He walks in the room and there's a fucking baby Yoda. Yeah. Right? What would have been great if we had an actual actor playing that role is for him to walk in, slick back the hood and go, I am a Master Jedi now. And then you see that look in his eyes of, Jesus Christ, is that Yoda? Like, we didn't get that. And that would have been cool. I know why we couldn't have that because of the choice they made with the CGI. Because you try and convey emotion on that face to that level with nuance, we're just not there yet. Yeah. So
isn't it possible that he would have already known who he was looking for just from the
Force? They touch minds, but I mean, as far as like knowing what he looks like and what species he is, I don't know that that's the case. Yeah, like they know that there's a powerful Force user somewhere over there is about the extent of like
it's like radar,
right?
Yeah,
yeah. What if his message was for many? It's like, I'm a powerful Force user, but for
he broadcast his Twitter profile, here's a selfie. Yeah,
and he's like, that broken language, that sounds familiar.
That'd be interesting, actually, if they do a time jump and he actually talks, if he has the same cadence.
I think
they don't. I want that to be a Yoda thing.
I think they kind of wrote themselves into a corner a little bit with him being as young and as, at least currently, like, I don't want to say useless, but like. You have to constantly take care of him. I feel like there would have been so much more good stuff that you can get out of him with a slightly older version. But how slowly he ages is not great for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it lays a lot of questions, right? Because does that mean that Grogu gets murdered by Ren? Does it mean that he becomes one of the Knights of Ren? Or does he escape? Like, he's now a loose end that pervades past the timeline, potentially, of the new movies. Because he ages incredibly slowly. Like, we know he's got hundreds of years left in his lifespan. Yeah. And that the events of those are only like another, 15, 20 years in the future before the end of the sequence?
I would imagine.
Yeah. Not even that long, I don't think.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that they wanted us to kind of question that a little bit too whenever you saw him do the Force choke. And you were like, is this bad, baby Yoda? What's going on here?
Well, there's so much here, right? Because we just don't know. Like, there are so many characters now that you thought were done with Rebels and Clone Wars, and now they're all back. Like, everyone is back on the board, and it's like, well, there's such a small window of time to wrap this up. Otherwise, you have to explain where were they in the next galactic civil war that happens so soon from that moment.
Well, what if perhaps Grogu's fate is tied with the Emperor's cloning?
The Emperor's still alive right now. But you're talking about
that's what I'm saying.
For
is like,
Snoke, are you talking about?
No. I'm talking about the Emperor in the sense that because in Rise of Skywalker we see that he's been trying to clone. Yeah. Right. So what if that was part of what they were trying to do? What if that was Gideon's plan the whole time?
So they're all secretly still working for the Emperor on the sly.
Yeah, because remember they're trying to.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because they were still trying to clone. Because remember, it's like we've exhausted all of our resources that we have available. We need the blood.
I'm confused. Like, I thought that was like known. Like, we definitely know that they're working for the Emperor, right?
Yeah. Well,
they
for
kind
what
of
purpose?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was assumed because we saw Snoke. I mean, we saw like the.
It is still assumed, but we don't know. That's actually a very good point too. Like, are we going to start seeing Snoke pop up in some of these next ones? Because like he has to be starting to rise to prominence now.
And he was.
Well, I guess that doesn't really happen till the
and he was known to some degree because I don't know if you remember, but whenever Han is talking to Leia in the first of the new three, Force Awakens. There we go. She says she was like, Snoke pulled him away from us. Like, so she knew of his existence, and obviously he was powerful enough to at least like made a name for himself at that point. So yeah, like we're probably going to see something with Snoke come into play.
Yeah, because that's the thing now. Like, are we going to start seeing at least some of these series because of the time frame? start to evolve into a prequel of its own.
Yeah.
Like, you know, what if this ends up being like each of them have their own individual series, and then that's all leading up to, you know, Avengers style, the big team up with them trying to take down the first iteration of the First Order and losing. And that's where some of these characters die off. You know, who knows?
I mean, we still don't know, like, the Knights of Ren are still, like, that is confirmed to be a thing, and we never got to saw them thanks to fucking Ryan
Well, they don't
Johnson.
exist yet, because, I mean,
No,
obviously with the
no.
flashbacks that we saw,
Yeah.
it was quite an older Luke
No. I
at
mean,
the point when Kylo runs off.
we knew that they were a real thing in The Force Awakens and that they were around, but we never saw what
Yes.
happened to them, and they never, like, talk
No.
about them again. So I'm wondering if maybe, like, in the background between episode 1 or 1 and 2, I guess, they take them out somehow or something like that, because they're just, like, not there for some reason later on. So I don't know, maybe they were fucking around in the background.
I thought there was something there where he killed a lot of them. There was like a throwaway line, I feel like, where Ren might have killed them.
I don't think that was the case,
So,
but
no.
I don't remember enough to know, because that movie was fucking garbage. But
It certainly wasn't well loved.
I will also say real quick, just for, since we were talking about the Force Ghost thing where he projected himself, how did he project himself but also have the actual physical thing of the dice? He
He only gave them to Leia.
yeah.
I don't think they were physical.
Or no, that's right. No, they weren't physical, but he handed it to her.
weren't.
Like, they physically handed it to her.
But that's how.
Yeah, but that's the
how
nod
she
that
knew.
I'm not really here. And you
Oh,
see
did
that
she
in
know
her
that?
face.
I didn't remember
Yeah,
that.
she knew
100%.
he wasn't.
Oh, okay.
You see the
I
look
honestly
on
didn't
the
see
face.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly did
Because
not
she's
see
force sensitive, like, and quite powerful as well. As by
That's true.
her,
We found that out afterwards.
space fairy moment.
Yeah, exactly. We found that out in the third movie. That bullshit.
So, according to things on the interwebs, according to the Rise of Kylo Ren comic, the Knights of Ren are a mildly force sensitive and a dark side worshippers and take Kylo as their leader because he's the grandson of Vader.
Yeah.
But in the Rise of Sky,
Is that the group he
what is
killed
this?
at the end?
In TROS, what's
Yeah.
TROS? The Rise of Skywalker.
The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. They sense his turn in power and they attack him. But since they are mildly force sensitive, Ben easily kills them. So yeah, he killed them.
Oh, that was dude. Oh, they were fucking lame, dude. Jesus.
Yeah,
Well,
that's the whole point.
they were.
They're all fanboys. They're all incel beta cucks that were following. They were simps following Belle Delphine. Is what
Yeah.
it was.
And probably virgins.
I mean, they were supposed to be like. I mean, they were under the training of Luke, so I'm surprised that they weren't better.
Well, he was getting everyone that was force sensitive because remember he was trying to rebuild the Jedi Order from scratch, like in the early days before he realized that shit's gonna happen. So. Yeah, because who's left now? It's only Rey after everything in that. I mean, you could do shit now. We can have like a
there's also that
grandmotherly
kid. At
the
least
kid.
the
The broom.
kid, the broom kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was
Well,
supposed to be a whole series of movies based off those kids that were like force sensitive from that era, but that got scrapped because Old Mate fucked episode 8 so badly.
Yeah.
And then there was going to be another Star Wars series, which was going to be the guys who wrote Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And then they shit the bed with the final season there, so that got canned. Just put Favreau in charge of everything.
Yeah.
Him and
Favreau and Filoni.
Just let them run the movies
Exactly.
from now on.
Like Kathleen Kennedy needs to just shut her mouth and just let them control everything on that side.
Well, we've already talked about who's running the next movie. It's Feige, so we're okay.
Yeah. I have complete faith in Feige to put the right people, like get the right information from the right people, and direct everything for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And don't forget that Finn's also force sensitive.
Finn is force sensitive. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but he's lame.
But
he's not.
do you
coming
remember
back.
whenever he was like,
accused too many people of racism?
"Oh yeah,
he's gone.
yeah, for sure."
Oh yeah.
It's also fucking terrible.
Although
moment.
it worked out well for what's Ray Cyborg? What's his Ray Fisher? What's that guy's act? Is it Ray Fisher the guy's name?
Ray Fisher. Yeah, Ray Fisher.
Yeah,
The guy who
yeah.
played
So I
Cyborg.
mean, he like had the big win with the WB with all the accusations from the investigation into Justice League.
Justice League.
with
we
Whedon.
still don't know. We still don't know what's going to happen.
He's
'cause
saying that he's pretty comfortable with what's about to happen. He said we're going to hear
Okay.
more shit shortly, so that's kind of cool.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's been used all this week actually, but because there was nothing concrete, I didn't put it into the big show. But there is one moment we haven't spoken about, in The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Which is the very, very post-credit scene, which we now need to get back into the habit of staying after the credits, boys.
Yeah.
The time's come again.
Right?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, Phase 4, and now Star Wars. Let's go.
Yeah.
Boba Fett and Fennec return to Tatooine to where we saw in Return of the Jedi. And they had that... It feels like the same actor who played that little translator for Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah.
Was kind of running things on Tatooine now.
Is his name Bib Fortuna?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Let's say yes. And then, Boba and her come in, wreck shop, and then he sits on the throne, basically insinuating that, maybe Boba is now taking his place as the
Hutt
crime lord of Tatooine.
Yeah.
Taking over the Hutt cartel.
Yeah, and then we got the final words, which is book 2, Boba something, right?
The Book of Boba coming
Boba.
in December 21. Now, this is what's confusing everyone.
Yes.
Is what happens now. Because now we have kind of 3 main plot points and a metric shit ton of side ones.
Yeah.
We have the kid is gone now. So the Mandalorian's like, what am I going to do in my life now?
Yeah.
Right? He's where he's supposed to be. So the question is, do they continue the child story at all? My gut tells me no.
Yeah. I think that's out for a good while.
Yeah, if they do that, that has to be an animated series. I can't see them do it in any other way where that makes sense.
With Luke involved, 100%.
With Luke and the Jedi Academy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an animated series waiting to be reborn. Because it was books a very long time ago until they said, nah, it doesn't count. With Mara Jade and all that sort of stuff. Then we have, obviously, Boba doing things on Tatooine. And then we have the Mandalorians themselves. Which is, obviously, they want to take back Mandalore. And that has been brought up so many times. So the question is, are we kind of done with the Mandalorian as the main character for a while? When it says Book of Boba, does that mean that the next series is centered around him and not Pedro Pascal?
Well, technically...
What?
Sorry, go ahead.
Or is that just the name of the first episode? Or is that going to be a spin-off series? Like, what is this?
I mean, you have the Mandalorian, the Book of Boba. It's still the
Exactly.
Mandalorian.
That was my look. That was my outlook on it.
That's true.
Because I was like, well, he is a Mandalorian, and this is called The Mandalorian, and that looks like it's involved with that show, with the man. It looks like it's going to be the next part of the show. So I very much have a feeling like I guess we were kind of thinking alike. Like I think that it is going to be the next one is focusing on him as the main character. We might see the Mandalorian we know hop in as a side character every once in a while, which would be kind of cool. But I would love to see that. And I think that's a fucking cool take on it to keep things interesting. And then there's going to
be the Book of Bo after that, huh?
Could be. But yeah, I think that is honestly a pretty cool way to do it as far as like storytelling is concerned, because I think things are going to feel very barren on that side if they continued with him right now.
Yeah, because like everything was told around that relationship.
Yeah.
And I think that's why there is a story there to tell, for sure.
Yeah.
Like obviously of the what do I do with myself now? Like there's something to be said about that. But
I think there's going to be a bit of a time jump. Next time we see him, I think it's going to be passed back around to him eventually, and I think that we're going to see like a bit of a time jump, and we're going to see him in between as like side characters now, as a side character now in between other people's chances, and then it's going to eventually go back to him. That's my working theory, at least right now.
I am just so happy that Star Wars is back and thriving.
Yes.
Like to a point where it was becoming just like a running joke, and the bandwagoners who jumped on going Star Wars is great and then left because it wasn't 100% everything they wanted. But the OG fans have pushed through, and now here we are again, back at the height of its powers and popularity. The fact with that last episode now, we might see kids once again looking to go out and get Luke's saber for Christmas.
Yeah, feels
There
good.
is so much about this that I love, man. If 2020 needed anything, it was that final episode for The Mandalorian. You know what? I can put up with a bit of the shit that happened this year if we get more moments like that for nerds,
For real,
man.
dude.
That paid off so hard for me, dude.
That was such a big fucking moment, dude. I just seeing him in action again just felt so fucking right, dude. Especially after the death, whether you liked it or didn't like it, it just felt good to see him again.
I was choking back with some tears a little bit there. I'm like,
dude, I was with you.
I
My eyes were leaking
yeah.
a little bit, dude. I'm with you.
Yeah, I had literal goosebumps. Like, and they got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger throughout that whole scene. Like when I saw the X-wing, I was like, "Oh shit!" Like I said, and then just up and up and up and up, and then just peaked. And then the CGI, God, if it hadn't have been that little bit of plasticity there, or like artifact, and then the dead eyes, that would have just been the perfect way to resolve all of that. But you just kind of went, I'm gonna watch it again because then obviously I got more of a chance to take that in. But
me too. Yeah.
I fucking love this season and all these spin-offs now. I was excited for them before the last 2 episodes of The Mandalorian, but now that I've seen this, I have so much hope that we're into a whole new thing. And anyone who was like, can we have enough of the comic book movies and Star Wars?
Fuck off.
Sucks to be you, my friend, because this shit is going to be around for a long fucking time. You can have your 4-hour art house bullshit gangster movie. I could give less of a fuck. It is the nerds' time to shine. The box office and the home streaming belongs to us, ladies and gentlemen. It is a hell of a time to be a nerd. I love it.
And you know what? With shows being like getting so much more attention and being more prominent and having more agency over the shows that are made, it feels so much better for storytelling in a way that we couldn't have before. Because most of it was done through the medium of movies before, but now how many times have we been burnt by something being too big to fit into a movie? Now we can put it over series, and it feels fucking great. So I'm so excited that this is what they've decided to do for these pieces, and that they feel comfortable making all of these shows, to show that it's not just going to be movies and we have to fit things in. So I'm super excited about this next phase.
Isn't that what the Snyder cut is doing? Is breaking it up into 4 different ones?
Man, I don't know. They've got a release date for it. It just says March 21.
It's supposed to come out on HBO Max, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're talking about now doing an R-rated cinema cut because Batman throws out an F-bomb. But this is not the podcast to discuss that. You had your fucking chance in the last episode to talk about this. And we will again in March, where I'm sure we spend an hour in a special episode just like this, pulling apart of, well, that was disappointing, wasn't it? I mean, Batman said, fuck, but what else did we get? I cannot see us walking out of the Snyder cut with as much joy as we're putting out there right now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
No.
But yeah,
Boys.
I feel like super excited about this. This is in a great spot. I'm glad.
Any final thoughts you want to add? Otherwise, we will wrap this up.
Nope, I'm tired. That's about it.
Another marathon stream.
Yeah.
I'm tired as well, but I still love the fact that we were able to sit down and digest The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I love that.
We missed it with the end of the boys. So hopefully
we are going to do this now. I mean, that's been the one good thing that's evolving of me dropping all the other content that we were doing is that it means we can do more things like this. Just committing to one project at a time. I mean, I can't convey enough. You guys might only hear like 2 hours of this a week, but a lot of work goes into prepping the show, playing games, doing the research. It just must be so hard playing video games and then talking about them. A lot of time goes into it. So, but it is one of the beautiful things. So I want to start doing these as videos. To be honest, I know that Hebrew is worried that his Clooney-esque good looks is going to cause just a stampede of pussy. But I think a video version of these chats would be fucking rad. So we need to get you a deep fake editor, and we'll just superimpose Mark Hamill's face over your face, and then me and Hooch can be on camera. We'll be fine.
There we go.
I want a Billy D. Williams.
Actually, have you guys seen what is that thing called? Sassy Justice?
No.
Okay. So this is on theme, I promise. But final thoughts to something. Good. So the South Park boys have been fucking around with deepfakes for the last year and getting real good at it. Like real good. Go onto YouTube and Google Sassy Justice. He has this character who's like a really sort of effeminate, sassy reporter who is... They're using Donald Trump's face.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yeah, and there's this whole series, and they had like Trump doing his Christmas card, like him reading a Christmas story about how he got screwed in the election. They're getting very good. When I saw the CGI of Hamill, I was like, they should have just handed over the reins to those boys because the early ones are pretty shit. But these new ones, they're getting very good.
Literally
Nice.
looking it up.
Sassy Justice, check it out, by the South Park creators. Yeah. All right, boys. Hebrew, thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Hooch, cheers to you, mate.
Pleasure as always, man.
And folks, give us some feedback on the Discord over at discord.me/ANRpod. Obviously, if you guys want to hear us do more breakdown and single things like this, obviously you might not care about a specific game or a specific movie, so you can pass on it. But for those of you that really want to go into the nerd junctions with us like this episode, let us know if you want more like this, because if you do, we'll make more of it. If you don't, hey, these guys get to go to bed before midnight for once, which would be pretty good. All right. Make sure you go on, tell your friends about the podcast, head on over and give us reviews on Apple Podcasts. And also, if you want to support us on the Patreon, patreon.com/ANRpod. That's going to do it. We'll catch you guys next week. Cheers.